Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Uh, I named this discussion here, it's from a lecture that I gave. I was looking for the paperwork. I'll find it the next time. But it's notes from a lecture I gave at the IEC in about 2004. It's psychological, chemical, or physical. And I was telling the group that I imagine that they kind of figured out where I was coming from, but I was just making a clear statement that it doesn't make any difference whether things that dealt with are psychological, whether they're physical, a physical threat, or whether they're chemical. It doesn't make any difference. That our intention is to deal with them in a clear and a concise way. And this reminds me of one of Malcolm's lectures, because it's kind of the way I feel right now, but not quite, but in a way. Malcolm's house had been bombed. And he gave a lecture either the next night, and he opened by saying he had a little halting speech at first. And he was saying that I very seldom come out without a suit and a tie, but my house was bombed last night, and they gave me something to help me sleep, so I just he was saying that wherever he was, that he just kind of got up and he's just coming out. And that speech that he gave was one of the best speeches he ever gave. But in the beginning, he started the speech, and you could tell it was a little halting, and he was and he got into the groove. He was off in a roll, he was off rolling. Okay, I just have a few notes here, and because these few notes relate to where we are right now, and inshallah where we're going. And I'll start this by saying, when I got up this morning, last night was a nice night, go to sleep, get up this morning, I took my family to the airport this morning around 6 o'clock. Well, my daughter and my ex-wife. And then I came back. When I came back, I stopped by Starbucks, brought a little coffee. And by the time I got to the house, when I walked in the door, I smelt a little smell down that I've been smelling on and off for a while. It's a little, almost like rubber burning smell, like electrical something burning, but that's not what it was. But it was a smell. And that smell that was in the air was the chemical smell. That's why the talk today is psychological, psychological, physical, or chemical, something like that. In other words, that's from 2004 lecture. That's from one lecture, because we've been dealing with this subject for a long time. And so I called you about 11:30, 12, something like that. Yeah. And at that time, I was knocked out. So what happened was, when I got back in the house, I could feel something, I already knew what it was. So it was chemical. It was similar to, one year I was reading Maulana Muhammad Ali's translation of Quran and taking notes from it and everything. That was what I was going to read that year. And one time when I was opening it up, I opened it up, and it was a serious, a chemical thing came out. So I knew what it was, so I just closed it back up, and I came over here, and I got my other Maulana Muhammad Ali translation, because I have 2 or 3 of them, same translation. So I picked it up and I brought it back, But the thing about it was chemical. Sometime when I would put my head down on a pillow or my pillow, it would be real chemical, you know what I mean, where it would, it was dealing with, you could tell it was the introduction of something into your house that was abnormal. And the reason I called today was because I just wanted to make something clear. That whether this goes back, almost not 20 years, but quite a while back, about 18 years ago, when I gave this kind of talk. I've given it many times, but it was physical, psychological, or chemical. And I gave that talk out at IEC, and I was telling everybody there that I don't care which one it is, whether it's physical, whether it's psychological or chemical, it ain't gonna change nothing. We already dedicated to what we're doing, and it don't make no difference what the system does. Okay, now, the environment we're in, we had the meeting yesterday, we're gonna have and then we're gonna go back to California when we get out there, and you could tell that we're in a different mode right now. Okay, when you go in a different mode, boss man go in a different mode too. So he can't do it the minute we walk out of here, but when I get up this morning, he's busy. So I'm not speaking to y'all directly, I'm speaking to him to let him know that ain't gonna work. Soon as I got the feel of what it was, I went around to where I run every day, well, almost every day, enough. And I was still, whatever this is putting me to sleep. You know what I mean? Because I'm in a workout mode right now. I'm in a good feeling mode. I'll tell you, give you an idea of what it was like. Remember when we was working up on the house next door? And remember when it was difficult for me to get up the ladder? And then I'm rocking. When I rock back and forth, everybody rocked with me. I don't know if you remember, but I remember very well. I'm not saying everybody knew that something was going on, but I knew that something was happening. But if I walk up a ladder right now, I'm not going to do that. When I walked up the ladder 2 weeks before, a month before, when we worked on the other side of the building, right? It was nothing. What I'm saying is, every now and then, boss man wants to introduce something that he thinks that might be effective to divert away from what we're doing. Okay. On many occasions, just like boss man be working on me, I be working on him too. So it's even Steven. It ain't no like he can do this, he can do that, and then I'm going to be a victim. No. So it's certain things that first of all, the way the stuff was happening today was clear. It was super clear that it was not only an external force, but it was an internal force. Because a few hours ago, when I said, okay, I'm going to do this, all of a sudden, all of that stuff that I was just I came upstairs because downstairs I could smell what was going on. So I went upstairs, but that didn't do nothing. It didn't affect, my daughter was upstairs, but it didn't affect her. So what came to me is what I've been working on all the time. I said, number one, I said, this that I'm dealing with is specially designed for me. It's specially designed for me because they're present, but it's not affecting them or affecting her. Okay. that's when I called you. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice, but I was a little nodding a little bit, you know. So I said, oh, okay, we're going to have a program. Now, I thought I was going to be feeling exactly like I was then. But I got up around, by the time 1 o'clock rolled around. Now, first of all, I done went to the hills to try to run, and it's just, it ain't working. So I get back in the car. I come back and park in the shade, hang around a while. I might have went back to the trail, but I still didn't run. So when I went into the house, I went upstairs instead of downstairs, because I'm downstairs all the time. So I could smell when I went downstairs. It's not a rubbery smell, but it could be electric wire, not burning 100%, but 10% burning. That's the type of smell that it give off. So I just said, okay, let me come over here and have a program and make this stuff clear to the boss man and everybody. Number one, just like boss man play his stupid games, we had to have a clear picture. Just like when you came to visit me in the hospital, I couldn't say nothing but something like positive. Positive. Was it positive? It was optimism. Yeah. Optimism. And that's about it. I can't say nothing else. Hell, I don't know nothing else. Okay. So the first thing is to figure out whether they done did something upstairs, because they done opened up my brain, and I done gave lectures 15 years before that on the subject I'm talking about now, physical, spiritual, or psychological, and it's been going on for 30-something years by then, so I already know what the ball game is all about. So, of course, everybody, by the time, if you've been doing this as long as I have, you're going to develop some methods of thinking. So, if I want to think about something like propaganda, in Spanish is propaganda, but propaganda means advertisement. So if I want to think about propaganda and I want to fool boss man, and he got a little brain map, if he got a brain map going on, right? Okay, I'll think about that's propaganda, but I'm not going to say in my brain propaganda. I have a code word for propaganda. It derives from propaganda, Spanish, right? So from Spanish, then that means, it don't mean propaganda in Spanish, it means advertisement. You know, if you're going to advertise something, so that's propaganda. What kind of propaganda what kind of advertisement? So, if you want to think about red, right? So you don't want to mess with the code stuff too much. So for red, you'll think about pink. That's what I'm thinking about. It's pink. It's a pinko, not a red commie. You see what I mean? Not a Chinese red, right? On any subject, but it's pink. Why? Because I don't think boss man, in fact, I'm absolutely sure that he's going to open my brain up, and with modern science, not tap, 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 it up there. He's not going to, he was doing it before when he hadn't even opened it up. You know what I mean? So I know what he's going to do, because see, here's where we are on new ground. And we're opening up a whole new field. And we're not just opening up the field for challenge. We're opening up this whole new field that Boss Man is playing with. Right? And now we can at least a little bit understand it. Like, I'm glad the brothers left, because I wouldn't want to talk about this subject with people that just walk in off the street and they say, man, Musa is deep. Or he might even say, Musa's crazy. That nigga's crazy. That man, it don't, because to them, they haven't moved up the steps. The point I'm making is, we're absolutely on the right road right now, what we're doing. We're absolutely on the right road. And let's see. I'll deal with that part a little bit later. This is from the day. You probably couldn't read it because I was halfway scribbling. All of these things that we're dealing with right now, they're experiences. That's what I classify as experience. It's not bad or anything like that. This is an experience, and it's not a new experience. With all the people that was around before, like if I was having a real good period, I might want to have an introduction. Something to happen in between. So I might take Baba Kloon and just sit right in front of him and say, and just run a line. Man, I feel so good, I don't know what to do. Oh boy, am I feeling great. Oh man, it's wonderful. If don't nothing happen, I go back the next day. Man, I feel wonderful. Until they introduce something. They said, the guy's feeling too good, we got to introduce something. Right? And so, there goes Baba Kloon. With somebody else, it might be, or with a similar subject, man, I know they're going to sell one of our properties in California. I know they're going to sell that property. I know they're just repeating it over and over again. Pretty soon, Mukhtar and them sell the property. He can't sell it because it's illegal. But that's what they do. So really what you're doing is, they play with you, you're playing with them right back. Hell, if I drive a car from down south and come drive it right here, and it's tick, 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 running smooth, and the next day I get in that click, 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 and the next day, click, 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 click. Okay, that means that they playing with the car. Like every car that I have sold, remember all the cars I sold to somebody? It clack, 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 clack. The day I sell them, you see the people that buy them? I bet you ain't heard nobody say, man, this is a rag car. This car ain't no good. Why they don't say that? Because they, right? It's clear. It's so clear. Now, you got to remember, we've been messing around with Boss Man for a long time. And Boss Man is not smart, especially in the end of his career. When Boss Man is coming down, he's just like the Negro. Or just like, you remember the old Westerns they would have, or the old bank guys, whatever, he's going to pull one more job. One more job, and he's going to buy a little house, a little ranch, and stuff, and that's it, right? Right? And he'd never make it. Never make it. That's halfway true based on how boss man do everybody. Okay, I have a lot of experience with boss man, but my experience with boss man is like I'm paying attention to what's happening. And some of the things I'm being caught by, but a lot of other things I'm observing. That's why when it got a little bit fuzzy, I said, well, boss man, you can keep America. That's why I left. I said, hey, come back some other time. Right? When it's clear. I don't have to stay here. So I left. Oh, that was the right boy, it was good. To get out and travel around the world and have time to really pull back and think and go over everything you've ever done, everything. Believe it or not, the reason I left America, because the main reason was this. When I was in the Youth Authority, California Youth Authority, the little white boys would run away. They would run away. They would come back, and I would still do more time than they did every time. They would let them go in a little while. Because the little white boy was upset they got a hole over there, segregation. If I just keep messing, hell, they just take me over and put me in the hole. But if the little white boy run away, they got to put it out on the teletype, put it out on the sheriff thing, everybody in the region, send it out. They got to notify the whole state apparatus that little Johnny done run off, right? So when little Johnny come back, he could mix stew for about a couple of months and then he's gone home. Why? Because he's more expensive to the system, right? They got to let him go, right? Because if he run off again, and that's statewide, that's what everybody. Everywhere I went, the little white boys would run off. Very seldom the Negro would run off. But the little white boys would run off, and they would come back and they would go home before I would. And I've been in there, I'm just doing regular messing up. And I said, that sunk deep. So I said, when the heat was on, I said, well, I'll just run off. That's why I left the United States. Because I had saw all the white boys would run off. They would run off, and when I run off, when I come back and got everything, at the end of everything, I ain't do but 4 or 5 years. If I would have got convicted when I was doing what I was doing, I would have did 20 or 25 years. Right? I would have did 20 or 25 years. But if I run off, now when I run off, now you got to remember, they got to have a whole governmental apparatus. When I go to Algeria, they got to get all these snitches in Algeria together to focus on me, right? When I go to and visit Egypt and Uganda and all those places, when I go to Dar es Salaam and Tanzania, they got to have their whole apparatus, right? So their whole apparatus that they got would zip in on me. They wouldn't say we're here to on you, but over the years, if you're observing everything that's going on, you'll be able, pretty soon you can pick out who's who, what's what. So when I come back, when I go to Europe, or Scandinavia, whatever it is, and when I come back over here, I come back over here with something in mind. And the government is right along with me every minute of the way, every stop. When I stop in Mexico to get things set up and then go to uh, if you want a better deal than this, you're going to have to go down to Peru. I get to Peru and hooking up stuff, and I see, boy, there's plenty of polices, and they acting like they have one sweep to sweep me up where I just go to jail for a hot second. I'm just a tourist. What am I doing? But they just to let me know something. And if you want a better price than that, you're going to have to go to Bolivia. In those days, that was where the best price for cocaine was. Because I'm a new man. I ain't going to do nothing wrong. Cocaine is not wrong. It wasn't considered wrong in those days. Only white folks and rich Negroes snorted cocaine. There wasn't no pipe smoking the stuff. Right? So I went on down. And they said, if you want a better deal, you're going to have to go to Bolivia. So I was trying to remember my 4th grade social studies books. Bolivia. Oh, that's over there. I just got out my map and I went to Bolivia. When I got to Bolivia, it was clear. You get to know CIA operatives, how they look and how they, so they ease up to me. And I remember we were squatting in a big plaza when the guy told me. He said, I got friends up in Colombia. Colombia wasn't a spot yet. They was getting ready to make Colombia the spot. In the old days, it was Peru and Bolivia. But now they're getting ready to make, because Colombia, Pacific coast, Caribbean coast, right? When you go through the, hey, that's 2 coasts. They call, in fact, the Negroes, they call them costinos. A lot of black people, because they live up on the coast. Believe it or not, 33% of people in Colombia is black, but nobody would ever imagine that, because they all live on the coast. They costinos. But anyway, so here's what they got going on. They want to get me up and set me up in Colombia, and that's what they say. They don't say, we're going to open up Colombia. Colombia is a news spot. Within a few years, it was a news spot. In less than that, we were there at the birth of Colombia as a spot for cocaine. We was there at the birth of it. I mean, it's not the birth of it, but because see, they grow cocoa down in Peru, and they grow cocoa in Bolivia. In fact, you could go to the market. I tried it. You go to the market, and for 5 soles, you could get a bag full of cocoa leaves. And then they could sit there and chewing them cocoa leaves. I said, no, I ain't into this. I want this direct, you know what I mean? Because all the Indians, they sitting on the back of them trucks, and they just there, But and they chew cocoa leaves. They just chew cocoa leaves. That's where they get their energy. But they put a little limestone with it to release the alkaloid to get them high. And I was just chewing. So to say, it ain't working. Plus, that's too much work for a Negro. You know what I mean? And who wants to have a mouthful of, like eating a mouthful of grass or tree leaves? You know what I mean? We're not like that. But the point I'm making is that every step of the way, Boss Man was right there. Boss Man was on the scene every step of the way. And I was already aware of everywhere I would go. In fact, I would let them know that I know you the police. And one white boy said, yeah, I got my sergeant stripes right here. That was in Peru. I said, yeah, then that's right. Yeah. In other words, you the police. Everybody was already the police, so it was nothing new. That was that was a long time ago. The point is this. All the time we've been doing whatever we've been doing, we've been adapting and adjusting to whatever stage that we're at the time. So when we were in Oakland, when I come out of jail, when I go through all of that, those are different phases of this whole continuous struggle. Because to me, this is what it is. It is a continuous struggle. It was from then on, and that's the difference between what we've been doing and some of our friends that get out of prison after being in a long time. They don't return to the struggle. Well, after all them years in the penitentiary and Negroes not helping you and forgetting about you, you know what I mean? It kind of make you not want to help no more, you know, stuff like that, you know. And that's the way they do our brothers. They forget about you. You know, like Imam Jamil. Imam Jamil has been in the penitentiary, and all the people that put him in the penitentiary is his people. All the people that put him in the penitentiary is his people. And one of the imams down in Carolina, I just got tired of him. He tells me, the next time you put together, because they're all out on the street and they depending on me to give them money to go see Imam Jamil in Colorado. So that means the rent a car, the hotel, I don't mind. But after doing that for years, all of a sudden the statement comes, the next time you do such and such, break me off a piece of that, you know, like for my person. I said, nigga, you must be stupid or something. Break you off a piece, you out here running around like me. The same old Imam, is the last time I saw him, he's over there. I tell you when it was. You remember when ISNA had a program over downtown, and the young guys from California was visiting my table? Yeah, the Shia brothers from California was visiting my table. At that same program, right over there, Najee was there with that Negro. Not that Najee's the police, but he might as well be the police. Well, he might as well be the police, you know. He was joining to help us, and I said, well, now you can help you, the lawyer and everything. And I said, anyway, it don't make me no difference. I'm telling you, it don't make no difference at all. It's fine. So anyway, yeah, just break me off a piece of that. You know, in other words, the next time you give us some money for us to go see Imam Jamil, break me off a piece. In other words, put some in, have a little package for me. I said, nigga, you must be crazy or stupid. You know, and I mean, I didn't want to talk to him like that, but nigga, what's wrong with you? You out here like I am. And you an imam down in Dixie, right down the street, you know. And you got the Imam Jamils. You try to walk like him, try to talk like him, and then, but you can't get no money. All you got to do is running around chasing me all the time. So anyway, the point is, we've been doing this a long time. And today, Boss Man was showing where he was going to start at on this go-round. So I'm here to stop him and say, you kiss my behind. You ain't going to do nothing, sucker. You know, whatever you do, if I have to get up with my eyes, can't hardly see, and go around, I'm going to do the program, right? And I got enough sense to know that if y'all busted me upside the head and GW opens up my head, that they're going to scramble around in there and do what they want, right? And I have been studying them just like they've been studying me. I already know that they, you know, you test these crackers and see what do they figure. So that's why I say I done color-coded stuff. I play with them right this doggone minute. So if I'm thinking about red, no, I don't think about red. That's what I think about pink. It's not it's almost red, right? So whatever the vibe that's going off is close. And okay, the reason I'm saying this to you, and I wasn't going to say it to other guys here because they just said that nigga's crazy, but y'all been around long enough to know that I wouldn't be here all of this time, right, if something wasn't going on. And whatever it is, if you keep score, I'm sorry, ain't nobody scored nowhere close to, I'm going to say mine. Nobody is, not even close. Every time we get here and say, well, boss man, get ready to look like a fool, boom, here you go again. Boom, here you go again. Boom, here you go again. And the last time, what happened in Afghanistan, I said, well, okay, that's about it. That's the sign we was waiting on, right? So we waiting on a sign, so now he wants to interfere, right? I'm sorry. It's not child's play. Whatever he do, look, that type of interference, just imagine the people that's on our team. You just listen to the news today about Palestine. They closed off this, they closed off that, and they bomb them, they this and that. Now, how would we be if I let a little old stupid thing like a little smell or something interfere with something, and they they slaughtering our people, they starving all of our allies, every last one of them, every last one of our allies is being starved out and murdered. Everybody in Yemen is being starved out and murdered. Hezbollah, the Lebanon, except for Hezbollah, has fallen apart. Iran is a miracle. Syria is a miracle. They're miracles. All of them is miracles. They would have been wiped off long time ago, right? So we would be sweetie pie Negroes 100% if the white man put a little smelling sauce there. And I said, man, I ain't going to do nothing today because, I said, okay, let's see what I'm going to do. It's fun. Okay. So by 10 o'clock, the white man have a nigga, he be just almost slobbing at the mouth, it'd be so strong. So, okay, I'm going to sleepwalk and go run. You get over there and say, oh, I don't think I'm going to make it. So you go back and lay down a minute. That's when I called you, around 11. So, but guess what? It gets deeper and deeper. But when I tell my daughter what's going on and what I'm getting ready to do, it's gone. It's just like I am now. It's going away. Just going away. Just like that. Well, how is it, Dad? How does it function? And I said, well, it does this and it does that, you know. And it's 96% chance that they're the ones that put it there. Why? Because their mama is a chief snitch. But I done made fools out of Sister Bahia and Abdul Malik and all them. I used to have on the stuff high school Negroes. I don't know if y'all remember that. They down to elementary school now. I guess either we're accelerating and they're going down, something like that. I believe that's what it is. See, remember, when you're in contact, it's like in the game. If you're playing in the game all the time, you're going to get better. One of my friends who was kind of in exile, he was a brother that went to Penn State, and we was talking about sports. He said, yeah, they'll take the white boy and keep putting him in, and he'll bench the Negro. Pretty soon, the white boy will get as good as the Negro or maybe even a little better because he's been sitting on the bench all the time. And the Negro was already ahead of him, but he keep him off the bench, keep him out of the game, right? That's a true thing. Keep him out of the game. Keep him out of the game. Don't let him tune up, right? Pretty soon, the white boy is actually playing as good or better, right? He wasn't better than the Negro. If you get the Negro in there 4-5 games, get him in there a year or so, he gonna catch that cracker and zoop. It's because they do that in everything. They do that in music. They do that in all kind of sports. Keep the nigger back and they used to didn't have quarterback Negroes, did they? Long time ago. They got them now. How are they doing? Huh?
That's the normal thing now.
The niggas is throwing, but all them years they didn't have none of them. Niggas can't do no quarter. He can't be the captain. He can't tell everybody 1, 2, 3, go, cause he's black, right? Soon as they get him in there, all he counts sideways. 4, 9, 12, go. Boop, and everybody, and don't nobody know what he's doing, and he throwing the ball. It's the same thing in everything we do. Well, I'm sorry. We just whoops the white man when we get ready. I'm telling you. We whoops the white man when we get ready. But you got to remember, the timing, see, you got to remember, this is the time of his decline. He done lost 5 fights. What if the champion lose 5 fights in a row? His eyes is puffed all up. His diction is beginning to change. You see what I mean? The white man, this American, he lost in Korea, right? He lost in Vietnam. He lost in Iraq, he lost in Iran, he lost in, might as well have lost. The only one where he caused trouble was Libya. But he just messed it up, he didn't do nothing. And whatever else he did anywhere else, it wound up costing him more than what he thought he was going to get out. So he's been a failure. He was a champ, and he done had 5 defeats in a row. Nobody would stay in the ring after losing 5 fights in a row, but Bossman have. Why? Because historically, they always do it, and they always make the same mistake. The Romans did it, the British did it, everybody do it. That we use the military, right? So in colonialism, when the British is going out, what do? They send the king's soldiers all over the world to crush the Mau Maus, right? They send British soldiers to crush everything. But the country is still going down. What do boss man do? Number one, the military-industrial complex in Europe was the same as the one here. You get a lot of work done, but it's only a few people working, and only if the military-industrial complex get the money, right? And a few workers, because it don't take the whole industry, it just take a few workers to put out who's the biggest weapons suppliers, the British and the Americans. But it don't help me and you, right? It helps Smith & Wesson or whoever make the stuff, right? It don't help me and you. This is the historical process, right? It's always been like that. That they concentrate on the military, and the military go around beating everybody up and losing every fight. The British lost every fight. They killed a lot of people. They always kill a lot of people in colonialism. But they had to go home. The Americans, they're still going to kill a lot of people all over the world. The death and dying is not through in that part of the world. But the authority of boss man is already finished. He's the laughing stock of the world. He done got whooped so bad he can't, all he can do is hurt people. He can't command any more respect. He cannot command any more respect. The people do not respect him. And how many times, because people have their eye on boss man, right? How many times can he disavow all the people they put their life on the line for boss man? So if he did it in the Philippines and told Marcos, Mr. President, talking to Reagan, and Reagan said, my hands is tied. His wife had 3,000 pair of shoes. My hands is tied. Esmeralda, whatever her name was, Miss Marcos. Imelda Marcos, my hands is tied, Mr. Talking, and Reagan can't help him. And if you take a dope deal and get out of line, a potted-faced man was down in Panama. He just invaded Panama. That might be the last victory they ever had. They just killed Panamanians. And that whole little strip, the Panama Canal. Can you imagine a country that they built, that belonged to Colombia. They said, hey, we want to build a canal. We're going to take it. So that's what gunboat diplomacy is, right? I bet you they almost want to give it back now. Because the whole world see, all the old potted-faced man told him was, I was dealing dope for you, and now you put me in the penitentiary. And everybody know it, right? Everybody. I used to be there in South America. I would go to the Bank of America in Panama. You see. Yeah, in Panama. And that's when it was a little freer, and you could do whatever you want, and you could pick it up almost anywhere. Panama. I used to operate out of Panama. Only thing I didn't like is just too hot and steamy, so I said, I'm getting out of here. Let someone stay in the hotel. But anyway, the point is this. You got to look at it. Boss man is through. He's actually through. He don't have nothing to stand on. And when you've had a chance to be around him, his little psychological mumbo jumbo, see, if you're not scared of him, he can't do nothing. And I tell him, I'm clean. I ain't did nothing to nobody. So I don't care what you know. I don't care what you can't tell nobody nothing on me, because I'm clean. You know, like, not that I've been a good guy, but I ain't did nothing to nobody. And I ain't did nothing with him, and, so I have a good record. Okay? They always talk about everybody got skeletons somebody got skeletons in their closet. Not mine. That boy is clean. There's just suits in that boy. Nice, suits from the old days. It ain't nothing, no skeletons. I took some money. I took somebody's girlfriend. I did this. None of that. And that's all on the record. Not only is on the record, but everybody knows it because everybody watch you anyway, Like in Oakland, before I came here, everybody would just be watching. I know the niggas lonely. So, I had to click the lights. It's time for, like we have family night, everybody, poor Imam just in his room by himself. And I said, it's time for y'all to go. I'll be like, okay, it's all over now. See y'all later. And they sitting there thinking, maybe I was lonesome. I ain't lonesome. I'm doing a job. I got a chance to do everything that they think is, all cutie pies and the money. I done already done that. And I know how to weigh and measure it. So I'm not impressed. And they got to go home with their wife. I don't have to go home with your wife. I don't have to go home with your wife and sit up there arguing. Y'all don't look happy to me. Niggas sitting around and arguing all the time. I don't care. It may look, you can pretend like how much fun y'all having, but I can see y'all rolling your eyes at each other, during the family night, and you can tell how well everybody getting along. And then, stupid stuff. Like, what's his name that got Malcolm's grandson killed? Hashim them. Hashim Alauddin. All them cutie pies at Berkeley. Imam Musa, would you tell Hashim that I almost said, hell with Hashim, what about the Imam? You know what I mean? I was younger then, in the 40s, but I didn't say that, of course. But I said, look at this Negro passing up all of these tenders, the whole Berkeley, And he come telling, he was at a meeting, all the sisters, Negro sisters, and who was there. He said, you couldn't melt a black woman and pour her on me. And the sisters were so mad at that low-down nigga, you know what I mean? And I reminded him what he said, and he ain't said, I didn't say that. No, because he couldn't say it because everybody heard him. And 2 wives he had, Iranians, and not regular black-haired Iranians, other kind of Iranians. Anyway, and they set Malcolm down there, and they just beat him to death. You know what I mean? They beat him with a baseball bat. At least that's what I heard. They just beat him. And them niggas, it's not that I was saying you ain't gonna do me like that, you little old funny behind niggas, but that's what they are. They little funny behind niggas. You know what I mean? To set up a guy like that and he ain't got no chance, to do nothing. He don't know what, he come in the Muslim programs with a tender. And then the little Iranian guy used to come here sometime. He'd have a program down in Texas, and Malcolm would stay with him. He said, Imam Musa, he don't even pray. He don't have no Islamic habits. I said, I know he don't. If you see him in a magazine and they got him there looking like Malcolm with the ring, you can know, and he don't have no game, and they just do. It's not, it don't make sense for them to do that to somebody, because he say, my Imam, my Sheikh is Hashim Alauddin. Hashim is the police. All of them out there is the police. Every last one of them is the police. And it don't make me no difference. That's the point I'm making. Look, I know who we are, and I know what we had to go through to get here. And those guys are policemen. And every policeman like them, they real tough on the prisoners and everything. But when the prisoners take over the penitentiary, the first thing them niggas say, I have a wife and children. Niggas say that. The police would be beating other niggas all the time. Well, the white people, that's the first thing all of them, I have a wife and children. But all these niggas got wives and children. They probably ain't taking care of them. We're in the penitentiary all the time. But that's the same thing. That's the kind of people they are. All of these people are people that will have somebody like Imam Jamil in prison for over 20 years and is either gone blind or went blind. And we can't help him because we're too busy taking care of us. You know what I mean? And that's why they mess up what you're doing, because you can't, go and do what you was doing for them. We raised $300,000 something for them. I don't know what they did with the money. I ain't even asked. I just let it go. Quit. I'm just saying, $240,000, something like that. It was a nice piece. It was enough money for them to do something with. And y'all heard how they did his community down there? So why would it be so abnormal for me to say that everybody's the police? If all of them was the police, wasn't they? Except his poor son, everybody with him. It ain't new. He knew that. He told me that in '83. I said, man, it's nice. Everybody, in '83 we was looking the community, for those days, few little houses, nice basketball court, and niggas like you know what I mean? And they use it, and then it's a park. It's a community. As-salamu alaikum. I said, man, it's so nice. Everybody said, he said, they're not with me. That first thing Imam Jamil said in '83. Another thing I told him, I said, I was in Iowa and a couple of more places, and they said, they was asking me, how do we get to the good people of America? I told them, that's who you get. You go into prison. He said, no, we want the good people. I couldn't figure out what, and I told Imam Jamil, he said, yeah, they meant the white people. He said, there's a memo on that. I said, that's what he would, I would feed it to him, and he said, yeah, there's a memo on that. Yeah, there's a memo on that. Yeah, you're right. You see what I mean? And what happened when all of them turned their back on him? Every last one of them. Okay. And we should not ever get hooked up on husbands and wives. And when you look around, the people marry who the police tell them to marry. Yes, they do. And they get divorced when I put that little bit into that building on there to give more room at that house there, the lady moved. Simple as that. Looked in, it's almost finished. Okay, gotta go. And it's all fine with everybody. These are like rules. These are not abnormal things. The only thing I got to say is this is a period now when all of those things are coming to not the forefront, but this is a serious time. Boss man had already showed who he was. He's going to throw everybody overboard. I know I've said this. It sounds, like redundant. And we've been saying this ever since any of y'all have been here. We've said the same thing over and over again for the 50,000th time. Boss man throws everybody else overboard first. He's not going to get up on the ship and say, I did wrong and jump in the water. Hell no. Right? He going to tell you, walk the plank. But boss man, I thought, hey, you need a visa to stay on this ship? We don't have any more visas. You want to come to America from Afghanistan or from Iraq or from Syria? You done told on everybody? Hey, office is closed today. What about my wife? What about all of my poor little Afghani children? My hands is tied. Right? Look, boss man is so mean that it's not... you would have to have spent some time in the back room with him when nobody's there but you and him, and then that's when this is what I do, nigga. You have to, if you've been with him 2-3 times, you already know who he is. You don't have to ask nobody nothing about him. That's who that boy is. So here's what we're gonna do. That boy gotta go. And it ain't gonna be no 2-3 weeks. So it's gonna take longevity, a long time. We're gonna have to build up a force. That's what King meant. He couldn't stay around, but he said longevity has its place, right? Before he said, I've been to the mountaintop and I seen the promised land, he said longevity has its place. Longevity does have its place. This is the thing that the Negro was missing from all the other successful African movements. The other people could do what they did and they could hide in the bush. The Negro couldn't hide in the bush. He did the city, it's more police in the city than it is niggas. Right? So he has no place to hide, no place to build up. He don't have the Sierra Madres like Fidel Castro had, where he can go and build up and take a breath, right? And slowly build an army. You couldn't do it in America. Just can't do it. So when we came back here, we had to have a plan. And longevity was a part of the plan, but not longevity which sacrifices dignity. Never did it and never even contemplated it. But, alhamdulillah. And now, this longevity has produced this longevity, this ability, this stickability, the ability to hold on, and the ability to put up with, you got to remember, nobody would even consider putting up with this for all of these years. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. I'm not going to say they couldn't do it. I'll just say they wouldn't do it or they haven't done it. Right? Historically, nobody has done it. We're in the arena by ourselves. It's all because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then there's the human element. The human element means that we had to have long-range thinking, long-range discipline. You got to keep your pants zipped up. You can't have those things. You can't do it. Right? You can't, there's certain things, you can't do that. Right? So they say, this nigga celibate for 15 years, something is wrong. Ain't nothing wrong. But this is not important. This other stuff is important. You see what I mean? Building the movement is important. And you build a movement and the white man comes, he floods the movement, he does, that's okay. No problem, boss man. Step one. Let's now go to step two. Right? No big deal. Right? And all the time you got to look at it. He's getting weaker and you're getting stronger. He's getting dumber and exposed. Everything he does is being exposed. Right? It's happened to everybody in history, but see, when you big, I looked at so many people, you write yourself out of that. Them niggas is little. I asked my partner that he was a nice, handsome brother, and he got addicted to heroin. He was slick though, but he got addicted. And he gave me a lot of game on what I was doing, because if you are involved in heroin and I'm doing marijuana and stuff, it's like night and day. But you got all the game. And so I was saying, man, what happened? How did you get as sharp as you are? He said, well, it's simple. He said, I started chipping. I said, I could chip. Them other niggas is weak, but I'm not like that. He said, chipping, pretty soon. He said that S turned from super to stupid. That's the word he used. He said the S on my chest turned from super to stupid. And now I'm hooked. I said, well, yeah. So that let me know how powerful certain things was. I never had to even, some people might want to try something just to see what it do, and not me. I already sold it for 100 niggas tasted it and dropped dead, why should I want to taste it to see, or do anything with it? So, no. So those things I'm trying to say is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are true to what you're doing, is going to give you hidayah and protection and open up avenues and ways to get to where you want to go, although you may not even know that way existed. That's where we are now. But the open way, we're just saying to Boss Man, this little old stuff that like today, a little smelling sauce here, a little, that's punk stuff. That ain't gonna work. That's B-word stuff. They're killing our people. So what kind of nigga would I be if, you put a little smelling sauce on something and I said, I don't want to do it no more. Because they put smelling sauce on my pillow. That's what we want to have a program about today, is say, yeah, smell, Yep. I talked about Malcolm, right? When they burned his house and yeah, when he that's a good one. I'll repeat that. See, I think that was a message to the grassroots. Man, look at here. That one gave the whole thing, because he said the white man is losing over here. He passes the ball to the guy over there, right? And that one, Malcolm said that, well, I've been in the back, and they gave me something to, my house was burned last night, and it said they gave me a little something to put me to sleep. So and you could see he was halting at first. By the time he finished, he was on a roll. He came all the way out of it. He talked himself right through that. And that was one of his most comprehensive lectures, is what he gave then. And that's been one of our examples. That's the same way we feel right now, is that the stupid white man, a few hours ago, you almost knocked out. No, you not almost knocked out nothing. You are knocked out. You know what I mean? But not finished. You could see the writing doesn't look that good, because that's nigger writing. Oh yeah, you think, so same, best, bigger, torn experience, you're just writing it. It makes sense to you. It don't make no sense to nobody else. In 2004, psychological, chemical or physical. That was a lecture that was given at the IEC in 2004. And I was telling the Iranians, because we was going through one of these periods like right now. Psychological, smelling stuff, this, that, another. And I was telling them, I don't care whether it's psychological, whether it's physical, right? It ain't gonna work. And it didn't work. Or chemical. Because those things, they have an effect, you know what I mean? I mean, they can drop some acid in your stuff and you'll be all gone. So I was prepared for that. If they drop some acid in my stuff, I'm just going to do this, that, and another. And whatever I do, I'll get back. I don't care if I get up here and start flapping and flying. I will walk myself right back to where I belong. You can call it confidence. But you can also call it history. Boss man is through. That's just the way it is. I know we've been saying it, but it's a little bit clearer now. But our mission is the same. We have to help rescue people that they may not even want to be rescued. That's not, but our mission is not based on what they want. It's based on what the job of a religious historical personality is. That's what we are. That's what we're doing. That's the time we're living in. Ain't nothing, and it's exactly what we've been preparing for all of this time. We studied everybody and all the people they thought was big in our community. See, in Oakland, people think about what happened 50 years ago, how, all my friends and everything, that's all they want to talk about is, man, this is going on. And I just said, man, this is 50 years ago. 50 years ago. And I try to tell them this is different than that. If that was this big, this thing here is 100 stories high. They don't believe it. They don't even know how to conceive of it. They don't know how to conceive of it. Okay? But because they don't understand, don't mean that we're going to say, well, since they don't know, we'll go with them. We'll get with the know-nothings and hang out with them. Since they don't know nothing, we might as well throw the mission away and know nothing right along with them. Bull crap. Not this go round. And I'll move toward a close with this. The earth, they say it's going to be here, they say, for 9 billion years. I don't know. And it's been here for 4.5 billion years. That is a while. And we don't know the cycles that it does. You know what I mean? The Quran said a whole earth was one solid mass. Then we clove it asunder and created every living thing from water. Right? That's the Big Bang theory. Right? It's clear. It was a solid mass. And right now, the earth is going through, the world, the globe, the whole is going through the black holes sucking everything up. We don't know. Forever is a long time. And we don't know I done said this before, we don't know what cycle this is on. The globe, the world is on. We don't know how many black holes that it was and how many explosions. Allah give us what we can understand. Hey man, all of the worlds, and what is it? The hadith say that there's 40,000 worlds, right? It don't want to do too much with us, but and we ain't gonna get started, cause it ain't no stopping. But something as big is going on. All we know is Allah gave us this hidayah for this period, and it comes from the great tablet. The great tablet might have been there all along. Right? I mean, so one thing about it is the pattern Allah done laid out. You have to admit it, that pattern, boss man is locked in. He's locked in the pattern of decline. And it ain't nothing new. It's new to him. Ask the Romans, ask the Persians, ask everybody. The British, everybody went through it and everybody thought the same thing he did a few months ago. I'm the baddest thing in the world. They're like the people in the Quran. I've been doing this all the time. I ain't never been without money. Man, I've been having money all my life. You see niggas do that. And he said, I thought you was poor 8 years ago when we was hanging out on the corner. But that's okay. Now you big so-and-so. And guess where big so-and-so wind up? Right back there. Right? Okay. Whatever boss man offers, it's not too much compared to what exists out here, in the universe. And I guess what's happening in the universe is maybe people can't put their hands on it, but they can put their hands on a loaf of bread and a job, stuff like that. All I can say is, I already know I'm the luckiest nigga I know. I already know that. And I use the word when it's fortune, that they'll be fortunate. I use the term because the first is good fortune. The second meaning, in Arabic, has is lucky. And for the way I've been living, I use the one more. This is the luckiest nigga in the world right here. Not the fortunatest nigga, because boss man always had a plan. I don't like that nigga. But you know what? There's been other boss man. When there's one boss man want to do something, get rid of that nigga. There's been another boss man. Oh, we can use that nigga for something else. I used to tell Abdul Malik about it. I said, no, there's at least two ideas going on behind me. And I can feel them pulling at each other. One saying, because you get a feel what you're putting out. One of those feelings is going to hit mean old boss man, he going to want to kill you. This nigga's dangerous. Get rid of him. There's another boss man. Oh, we can use that nigga. It's not ethics and all of that, but believe it or not, like in old slavery days, old mean old boss man that used to whoop everybody else all the time, he had a soft spot for old Mose. Right? Every one of them. I don't care how mean he was. One of them niggas had his number. Oh, boss man. He didn't get out of line, but he made boss man feel good about being a mean old boss man. Right? I'm telling you. A lot of people don't study their history, and they don't see how they fit in it. But if you done seen stuff coming at you 50,000 times and it don't hit you, or if it hits you, it bounce off, something is going on. I'm just saying something is going on. Okay, you have to study to find out what's the regularity of this stuff, right? You know what I mean? Does this have a pattern? And when you get the pattern down, you get to a point where you can make mean old boss man mad, his hair turn red, everything. And then you jump over with let's not call him good boss man. Oh, boss man. Oh, boss man. This is not verbalized. It's not verbalized. Right? It's acted out in ways. And it's not all on the surface, but it's been going throughout history. When there's been a power relationship and a servant relationship, some of the servants could do anything they wanted to because they had boss man in their hand, but he couldn't go tell all other niggas, watch me make boss man turn flips. Couldn't do that. Always had to have attitude, I'm telling you, right? Oh, boss man. Da, 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 da. Oh, Johnny, old nigga. Oh, yes, sir. I say, they used to say that in the South. Yes, sir. No, not yes, sir. You know, and I used to watch them coons. They'd get everything they want. Everything they want. In 1950, we was driving a John Deere tractor. At least my brother was. It was 19. I used to sit on the thing and ride it on the, not on the fender, but you know, on the side while he was plowing. Didn't know other niggas had them. It belonged to Mr. Word. Nice Chevy truck, you know, them black ones, 50 Chevys. We had mules and stuff too. Old John, old Fox, all them old big old mules, right? And did a little plowing every now and then. They did. I didn't do nothing. I had it good. I was 6, you know, where you could just, you didn't have to do no work. You know what I mean? They used to say I used to stand on the porch and eat watermelons and pee all over everything. I had it good. I was 6 years old, right? 4, 5, 6. I had it good. Everybody else had to work, you know, because they was 13. My older brother, they was 13. Boy, they would be working. I mean, really, you know, country work, driving wagons, and my other brother driving, the oldest brother driving them doggone tractors and plowing. You know how walking in that hot sun all day with them straps, G-haul? Plowing with them big old mules, you know, they was big mules, not the little teeny. Man, I'm telling you, I had it good, but I was able to watch enough to get up on certain things. And I'm going to tell you, then I'm going to close in a little while. But must have been in the mid-50s when my father went back down and he took my second to the oldest brother. Now, we've been in California a while, so Mr. Word, that's what they call him, Ben Word. He owned the town. You know, in every town they had a big white man, and then the big white man had his crew. So the sheriff, I'm telling you, it was so old-timey. I went down there last year, a couple of years ago, and I saw a white man coming out. He said, I said, this used to be a bayou right here. Then he said, yeah, it's still there, you just can't see it. And then he told me his name. And I said, oh, your father was Mr. Garrett up there. Yeah. I said, y'all had a 51 Mercury, a blue one. So yeah, because they got a place called Garrett Lane. And the other street, Ben Word Street and all. It's just a little town, but all them white folks. And I said, did you know my father? He was probably my age, a little older. He said, I could take you to my mama. She's 88. She remembers all of those people. And I told him my name. He said, yeah, I know y'all's name. And then, but anyway, when they went back, we went back down there in about the mid-50s. And so, Ben Word on the cotton gin. He owned the store, like not Pennies, one of them stores. He owned everything in town. And then all the other white folks was under him, you know. So Pink Booger, the sheriff, I'm not making this up, Pink Booger. The sheriff, the high sheriff, you know, it was pure 100%. I guess every town in the South and the North was like that. They had the big white man that owned mostly everything, and the other officials, he was running that too. So he might own the cotton gin. We used to take stuff to the cotton gin. You know, you had to take the cotton in them big wagons, the cotton wagons, and they sucked the vacuum up to all the cotton. And stuff like that. They call it a cotton gin. But anyway, that's the way the country was. Now, we was out in California. I'll close in a minute. me and my brother, we went back down there in 57. So everybody was talking about cotton. We just wanted to try a little cotton. I think we got a cotton sack. They still, in the 50s, they still pick cotton right there. Shoot, we threw that cotton sack on us, and we had our 49er jackets on. We was California 100%. We walked down the row and back, and we took that cotton, throwed it off, and we didn't even want them to weigh it to see how much, they had a weight thing. So that fit, forget it. So we didn't have I'm finished with cotton from then all the way up to now. I don't have no affection for picking cotton, or nothing to do with it except wearing cotton clothes, after they went through the change. But the thing is, my brother was with my father, and when he went to visit the big white man in town, the big white man said, "So-and-so, I miss you more than any nigger that ever left here." And my brother was, my father grabbed his hand, "I'll break your back if you..." Because my brother been in California, right? And he was 13 when he left, but he didn't forgot where he's at. And to him, for the white man to say that to my father, he was born there in 1900. That's all he ever heard. And he could get anything he wants from the white man. He did get hit. All of that stuff I was talking about, we the only niggas that could drive a truck, in 1950. You drive a truck. The tractor, John Deere tractor, you didn't have to use the mules. We even had electricity in 1950. I tell you now, things is, was moving up. I'm telling you. But here's the point. Eventually, other people never paid attention to those old Negroes. I did. That's why I did everything I did at the time I did it. It was second, okay, we got black nationalism. Now we got Islam. But what about that other period before? Nobody knew nothing about that. The white people now don't know nothing about it, neither does the niggas. They got nobody in the FBI that knows that mentality of the 1900s or the 1910 generation that was alive when Jack Johnson won the championship and they was happy. And Jack Johnson went down, nigga went down to said, "I want some eggs, coffee black as Jack Johnson and eggs beat up like Jim Jeffries." They hung the nigga. That's what they did. They just killed him. But my father's generation, that was and I used to hang around with all those old Negroes. When I was just hanging, didn't have nothing, just sitting there listening and sucking it all up. And I understood. That's why we are here now and ain't nobody else here. Nobody else is where we are right now. Not one single Negro in the United States. It's either true what I'm saying or it's not true. They're not where we are. They haven't been around as long and they haven't been successful. You say, successful? The white man did it. The white man did nothing. When we get ready to do whatever we want to do, everything is here, right? We do it when we get ready, including taking a breather. The white man can wear you out, get you on a treadmill, the tax treadmill. I got to pay the taxes. I got to do this, right? And you're tired, and you say, "Forget the taxes. I don't pay those taxes." When I get ready, right? Everything. That's what it takes, because the people, and the last thing I'm going to say is this deal with boss man, with the white man. Our deal is the same as always been. We're going to help rescue you from your situation because you ain't got enough sense to do it. But we doing it in our way. You're going to have to come deal with us. We're not coming to you. We done already told you where we're coming from. That's just the deal. So he has to come out of that FBI ivory tower, out of all of that. He have to set aside the Zionists. He have to figure out who's closer to me, the Zionists or the Negroes. He got to figure that out. If he got any sense, he'll choose the Negro every time, because the Zionist is telling him what to do, right? The Zionist done broke his back. The Zionist done got him starting all these wars in Iraq and everything to protect the Zionists. Everything that's happened in the last decades has been the Zionists manipulating the Americans. The only thing gonna pull him out of it is when he'll be around in a minute, or he'll be broke and gone. That's the only thing. He can do it, but we're not gonna change. We're gonna get more into what we're doing, not changing. And we don't care what we have. After a while, it's not the material, like. And I'll close with this. Imagine right now, with the world the way it is, what does it make a difference whether we have a masjid full of people and all the property in it and everything, and the world is the way it is now? How does that fit? Right? That's only a dummy would be allowing that to cloud the big mission. The big mission is the globe needs management right now. And a masjid here, a masjid there is not what it needs. That's just not going to solve any problem. And we already know that. The other thing is, 9 or 10, 200 or 300 people around, it's not going to solve the problem either. Whoever gets into this at this time has to have a global vision and have to have the globe or the world or a universal mentality. All this other stuff, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? And people, I can't wait to send my children to the greatest school. What the hell are they going to do there? They'll be out in the you know where the world will be in 3 or 4 years, 5 years? Where is it now from where it was in 2016? Just they getting ready to bring in old dumb Trump, right? Well, look at the world now. In a few short years. How many forest fires? Has there been a year? The forest fires, if you just dealt with forest fires alone in California, forest fires, what is it, the damn hurricane, the biggest since 1859, something like, I don't know, whatever, before they even called, right? In Louisiana. That's what they said. It's the biggest since they didn't, I don't even know what they named, but that's what they said on TV. This is the biggest thing since 1859 or something like that. That's what they said, right? And it's getting worse every time. Every time you turn, every hurricane season, there's hurricane and the death, and every fire season, and everybody is all right. Something is wrong, right? I mean, and people talk about signs. Well, we take signs serious. That's a sign. Good God Almighty. The whole world is on fire. One part is boiling over and wind blowing everything down, and the other side is burning up. And everybody, yeah, man, that's deep, ain't it? Yeah, man. And then who's gonna be the football champ this year? Right? Yeah, man. Look, okay. I'm gonna stop. I just wanted to call y'all down. The people, I think the niggas is crazy. That basically, I think something had happened. The white man put something in there. It ain't the white man. I think because the people was like that in the old days too. Even, and they all get distracted. And they all get misled by Pharaoh because of all of what he have. But what if Pharaoh's a damn fool? The one we got now. Hey man, this nigga is so stupid. The white man, the one we got now, that boy is so stupid. Anybody that I wouldn't even eat with him. If I saw him coming, I'm going another way. Gotta go, boss man. Well, just wait a minute, Imam Musa, because I just got a proposal. Hey man, okay, call me on the white man on the phone. But I don't want to be, because your behavior, you know what I mean? Your behavior, man, what's happening? I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. I mean, maybe something is wrong with me, because this is the way I actually feel. I feel like that cracker is done blown it. And he done lost all of his sense of values and what makes, and I will close, but I think that not only humanity, but anything that makes sense. If they got fires in California and the smoke blowing over here, that's 3,000 miles away. That's something to think about. And now, it's like that all the time. Every year. And there's only so much forest to burn. And the more the forest burn, the less fresh air, the less. And he haven't held no meeting to say, okay, stop. Right? He ain't did nothing like that. He ain't had no meeting in the UN, so we have to pause for the next so and so. Right? If your business, if all of us had any of y'all had any business, anything, right, you would stop it and say, hey, we got to put this together. You know what I mean? We got to tighten this up. Right? He ain't even. And then we here with him, no. Remember, he ain't going to take himself down. He's taking everybody with him. He's taking everybody and everything. He taking everything with him. He taking the whales. He taking the seals. He's taking the niggas and the Mexicans. Look at here, the little boll weevil. He taking everything. The boss man, he ain't leaving. Hey man, this guy is. But it's been like that. It's the Quran is like that. All the people in the old days, they went through the same thing. What was wrong with them? Why they didn't? Well, the only thing that this time is bigger than before. It's not a region that's in trouble. It's the whole globe. You see, so we got all this technology and engineering, but in those days, it was only that region, Pharaoh's region, right? Babylonian region. All those were regions, and they had to fix that, or it was bad news, right? Now, it's the globe, the whole globe. So, inshallah. Okay, I just wanted to say that I don't care what they do, whether it's psychological, physical, it ain't going to work. This is my opinion. and I don't care what they do. They can be happy about it or they can get mad. We're going to try to do our part. And that's the only thing I really wanted to have an emergency meeting. Yeah. Are there any questions, any comments? I know I didn't,
And I don't have my phone, other phone today.
huh?
I can't look online to view the,
Oh, to see what,
because I use my phone.
oh, okay. Are there anyone else got anything to, yeah. Okay, Hakula Kali Hada wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. So there's,
I'm gonna check and see.
oh, okay. It is tax time again, so we'll see what we can do before California. Yep.
Yeah, nothing came over. I mean, there was a brother that got on, but his statements weren't coherent. I don't know how it's. They weren't coherent?
Right. Well, everything we were saying wasn't all is coherent to us here, but somebody that don't come here all the time, hey man, just this talk today, what they would say, that nigga boy, he be dropping that acid and everything over there at Masjid al-Islam, you know, and that's why I was waiting for the brothers to leave before. I said, hey man, because if I get off into this, you know what I mean, and they just visiting for Salat, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
No, alhamdulillah, okay. Are there any comments or anything? Okay, if not, aqulu qawli hadha wa